the school support staff do a wide variety of vital roles in schools: catering, cleaning, admin, pupil support, welfare support, teaching assistants. Now, one thing all these varied roles have in common is that the scale of their duties and their workload has increased significantly since the last Labour government. And really, there have been three key drivers of that expansion of the scale of their duties and their workload. And they are not exclusive, but the key drivers: the COVID pandemic and how roles changed during the COVID pandemic, the cost of living crisis. In particular, we've seen an expansion of the pastoral and welfare support need for supporting pupils and parents. And then thirdly, the one I want to major on is the impact of the underfunding of education for 14 years by the previous government. So one example of this is what's happened to the demarcation between teaching assistant roles and teaching roles. Now, the root of this erosion of a demarcation is very simple. We've had a recruitment and retention crisis among the school workforce. The main driver of that has been that the previous government made significant real-term cuts to the pay of the school workforce. And we've had a recruitment and retention crisis, and schools confronting that recruitment and retention crisis amongst teachers, because of their lack of adequate funding, have increasingly turned to teaching assistants to plug the gaps, either for teacher absences or where they've not been able to recruit and retain. Rob Webster, who's the internationally recognised researcher on the role of teaching assistants in schools, conducted a research for Unison this year, 6,000 teaching assistants. And what that found was that now regularly a significant proportion of teaching assistants are routinely, so weekly, effectively covering for teacher absences where a school's not been able to recruit and retain teacher. 51% of TAs in secondary say they're regularly covering classes, a quarter in primary. In secondary schools, we've even got some TAs who are teaching subjects at GCSE level. Now, to be clear, there has always been, for some higher graded TAs, an element of their job description where in only very limited circumstances, or certainly with set criteria, they could provide cover for a teacher. But what we're seeing here has gone way beyond that now, where actually two things are happening. One, a predominantly low paid workforce, which teaching assistants are, some can earn as low as £14,000 a year, are being exploited. It's the underfunding that's driven that exploitation. But two, and this is where we talk about the impact on pupils, by using TAs as cover, it's taken them away from their primary role, which is about providing one-to-one support for children with additional learning needs, children with special education needs, or children who are struggling. That one-to-one work with the pupil, a small group work. And as a result, a majority of the respondents to our survey are saying that work's suffering. They're no longer able to provide that targeted work because they're providing emergency cover. And that's really important because the research shows from the Education Endowment Foundation that targeted deployment of teaching assistants, delivering one-to-one intervention, small group work, can add 5 additional months of pupil progress over the course of a year. So to be clear, pupils are missing out on that because TAs are being used as emergency cover due to the recruitment and retention crisis. So finally, looking to the future, what needs to happen? I know it's an obvious point, but we need to address funding. The government's going to have to invest properly in education to make up for the 14 years of underfunding we had. from the previous government. That's the only way we're going to resolve the recruitment retention crisis, alongside real terms pay increases to make up for that erosion of pay. So TAs can get back to the most valuable part of the work, that targeted one-to-one interventions. And we need a national dialogue with government where to have a restatement of a demarcation between teaching and support staff roles. That's going to need probably regulation, certainly an update of the national agreement around when TAs can cover for support staff roles. And then finally, we need to formally recognise the professional roles that support staff of all occupations, catering, cleaning, teaching assistants, do in their own right. We need nationally updated job descriptions. We need proper pay that reflects the work they do. They're some of the lowest paid workers in the country. We need investment in training and development, and we need a proper career structure so support staff can develop and go up through the grades and jobs in schools. Finish on a hopeful note. The new government has committed to reintroducing a national school support staff negotiating body, which will look at pay, terms and conditions, and training for support staff. That's really important and really welcome. But alongside that, we also need in the budget real terms increase in school funding. Thank you.